from the Ron Miller Race Car Studio, this is the Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
Welcome, race fans!
Welcome back, Scott.
To the Hammer Down Racing Report for, hey, it's 7-Eleven.
It is.
We should have had a Slurpee tonight.
Oh, man, and I'm thirsty.
I know.
All we've got is water.
Good. Well, I got some coffee, but...
Yeah, well, keep you awake.
Live from the Ron Miller Race Car Studio, it's the Hammer Down Racing Report for, as I mentioned, July 11th. Lots going on this weekend and early next week. Some big races. This is like what racing season's all about here, right?
Well, and it's nice that it's finally started.
Yeah, and the weather's cooperating, knock on wood. We'll have an update from Ryan Weekman of Channel 11, our weekend weather pit stop. He's actually on vacation, but through the magic of digital audio technology, he will be giving us a
report tonight.
Yeah. It's good. That's a spoiler alert. It's good. We should be good for some racing this weekend. We're coming at you live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter and Periscope. Make sure to like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, at Hammer Report. And you can always listen on demand on your favorite podcasting platform, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Google.
And we prefer that you listen on iHeartMedia.
Radio.
Right.
iHeartMedia owns iHeartRadio.
Correct.
But they're the same. Everybody gets them confused. It happens.
Our mega paychecks come from there.
Scott Hammer in the studio along with Ron Miller. Alan Blank also unofficially joining us over in the corner. He may or may not say anything. We'll be talking to the legendary sprint car racer Brad Doty about the 31st annual Brad Doty Classic coming up Tuesday at Attica Raceway Park. Looking forward to that. And we were originally going to have Zach Dome on as well, who was the winner last year at Oakshade on both Friday and Saturday, last two nights of the late model.
The birthday race.
Yeah, Summer Nationals.
Right.
But, and he was going to make the trip up here. He's from West Virginia, and I guess he had a death in the family, so kind of had to scrap those weekend plans.
So he won't be with us tonight, and at least as of right now, he won't be at the Shade this weekend.
This weekend, yeah. So that sucks, but, life happens. We may be talking to somebody about the birthday race, though, a little bit later.
I would hope we do. There's
big
just
event.
Big. It's exciting, and the weather is going to cooperate. I believe we'll find out.
Let's save your Ron Miller Race Cars commercial to when I'm dialing.
Yeah, that's fine,
Brad. So that you
that's
can.
fine.
Okay, we'll get to that.
We'll
a little
talk
bit later.
about that.
We got to do an update. A Hammer Down Racing Report Dirty 30 coming up on October 3rd at Sandusky Speedway. It's a Thursday night. We're going to be doing the show out there, and there's going to be late models, UMP dirt late models, that is, on the asphalt, as well as bombers and the dirt trucks and front-wheel drive cars. It's going to be the dirt cars versus the pavement cars with the front-wheel drives. So,
now,
and I just heard from Corey Gum this week, who's the point leader at Oakshade.
And he'll be there.
And he's planning on coming out,
I'm
too.
pretty sure there'll be a good representation of the Oakshade four-cylinder cars that'll be there.
And I bet you there'll be a good representation of the Sandusky Renegades as well.
They better bring their A game. I've watched some of our guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun night. And if you just touching on the technical side of it, and I know we've done this before, but the late models will be on UMP dirt tires or American Racer MD56, whichever they choose. But if you are a dirt racer or know somebody that you would like to see there, they don't have to go out and buy a special set of tires for this. It's not going to be an outrageously expensive proposition, but the payout's going to be pretty good. $1,200 to win, $200 to start. The Fremont trucks and Oakshade cars, I believe it will be a typical Fremont dirt truck payout. And again, those guys will be on their track tires. So
payout information for those two, I believe, is complete and it's posted. I got a page set up on hammerdownracingreport.com.
All right.
So those payouts, unless they've changed, which I'm guessing they'd only go up if they did.
They would only go up.
Those are out for the late models and for the the bombers and trucks. The front-wheel drive, all I have is the winning pay at this point.
And we've put some feelers out to some kind of high-profile racers that we may be convincing them to be there. It's going to be a fun journey. It's going to be a real fun race, Scott.
And again, that's coming up. Sandusky Speedway. We're racing on the asphalt. We're not putting dirt down, but we're racing dirt cars on the asphalt. And it's a Thursday night, October 3rd. Chris and Doug, I believe, are going to get working on that a little bit more after their high miler event in a couple of weeks. So we should be having some more news on that coming up in the next few weeks. Plenty of time before we get to that, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, a lot of racing the past 2 weeks. We were off last week for Independence Day. Hopefully you had a good Independence. You got all your fingers?
I do.
All right, good.
No firework incidents at our place.
Hopefully everybody else has their fingers, too. Let's go over some of the results here. We'll do our area racing roundup. How much time we got? We got about 10 minutes before we talk to Brad Doty here. Lima Motorsports Park, we're going to go back to 628, June 20th, a couple weeks ago. We'll just list all the winners here because there's so much to cover. Todd Sherman was the winner of the Modifieds. Jared Horseman won the NRA 360 Sprints. Tony Anderson was the Bud Thunderstock winner. Moving ahead to this past Friday, Horseman again was the NRA 360 winner at Lima Land. And Mike Holbein won the modified feature, and Jeffrey Jessup was the Bud Thunderstock winner. Action at Attica on 628. Chris Andrews was the 410 winner. Mitch Harble was the 305 winner, and Ryan Markham won the late models. This past Friday night at Attica was Byron Reed. That was the Attica Fremont Championship Series 410 feature that he won. Jamie Miller was the AFCS 305 winner, and Doug Drown, your late model winner, last Friday night at Attica Raceway Park. Now, I was gone for a couple weeks, so I missed a lot of action at Oakshade, apparently.
You did.
Including Saturday, the 29th of June, Chris Keller won. Did he race the week before? Or
no,
was
he
that
didn't.
His only week he came out
just
and
decided
won?
to go race, and boom, he won.
Wow. Any idea if we'll see him this weekend for the birthday race?
I don't know.
He wasn't out last weekend. But, yeah, Chris Keller, I guess, winning a couple weeks ago at Oakshade. Mike Jessen was the sportsman winner. Terry Rushlow won the Bomber A main, and Haley Dittman picked up the Bomber B main win. Corey Gum was the compact winner. And then this past Saturday, Brian Ruhlman became the fifth different late model feature winner at Oakshade in 5 races.
Brian Ruhlman was on rails Saturday night.
It was a fast track.
Yes, it was.
With the rain shower before that. And yeah. Did you see Ryan Missler during hot laps? I don't think he lifted hardly.
No,
It was pretty good. He wasn't feeling so well that night. Jerry Signer picked up his first sportsman feature win, and Terry Rushlow was again the winner in the Bomber A. Steve Reeves beat me to win the Bomber B, and Corey Gum again in compacts. Fremont Speedway, a couple weeks ago, the 29th, Stuart Brubaker was the 410 winner. Randy Hannigan, the NRA 360 Sprint winner, and Jamie Miller was the 305 winner. This past Saturday at Fremont, Buddy Kofoid was quick time, won his heat, and he won the Attica Fremont Championship 410 feature. Kids coming on.
Again, the kid's the real deal, Scott.
Jim Miller was the Attica Fremont Championship Series 305 winner. John Brooks won the dirt truck feature. That was this past Saturday at Fremont. Sandusky Speedway, your winners from a couple Saturdays ago. Stephen Klinecht in the Modifieds. Carl Smith won the Lake Erie Stocks. Kyle Ramsey was your Renegades winner. Tanner Smith, Beginner Stock. And then this past Saturday, July 6th, Brandon Holcomb won the Renegades. Trent Stevens was your Supermod feature winner. Spencer Steinman was the Ohio Truck Series feature winner. Flat Rock Speedway in action. You talked to Harold Fair Jr. a couple of weeks ago.
We did.
On the last show. It was an interesting conversation once you got everybody hooked up there.
Yeah,
Actually,
they ordered some parts this week.
Talked to Jason Sprague, too, about...
Did you?
I got pre-approved with Ross Mortgage there because I'm in the market for...
Those are really good people.
Yeah.
Actually, I talked with Jason this morning. I'm very impressed with that whole program.
My realtor was impressed with the spreadsheet that sent over to me. Has showed all the rates, what the estimated payment would be, the different house cost, price, whatever. It was, and you could plug in different numbers.
So maybe a realtor could hook up with Jason in the future and throw a little more business towards another racer.
There you go. Flat Rock winners from a couple weeks ago, June 29th. Derek Shepard was the 250-lap Enduro winner. Rob Randa won the ARCA Street Stock A Main. LJ Farmer was your ARCA Street Stock B Main winner. Troy Hoffman was the MCR Dwarf Car feature winner. That Farmer is no relation to Rich, is it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. This past Saturday at Flat Rock Speedway, Eric Lee picked up the late model win. Ethan Stadnuchuk.
Did you happen?
Former guest as well was the Street Stock A Main one. I believe, was that his first A Main?
I think so. Did you happen to see a video or a couple of pictures of the Street Stock A Main 2 weeks ago? The two front row cars on the first lap got together, and the entire field wound up parked in turns 1 and 2.
No, I did not see that.
Okay. Yeah, they red flagged it, got everybody off the track, allowed them to work on their cars since nobody had completed a lap, and ran a couple of other events, and then brought the straight stocks back out. Kind of a crazy deal.
So they all could fix their cars then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They just totally restarted it then?
Yep. And like I say, they hadn't completed one full corner.
Sounds like the very first US 500 up at MIS.
Yeah.
They wrecked before they even got to the green flag, I think it was. So, anyways, Jerry Farmer was the Street Stock B Main winner. Bill Early got the figure 8 win there at Flat Rock this past Saturday. A couple weeks ago, actually a week ago Sunday at Toledo Speedway, Albert Francis was your ARCA Gold Cup late model feature winner. Brian Campbell won the ARCA CRA Super Series late model feature. Some Sunday afternoon racing. Waynesfield Raceway Park was in action for the second time this year.
And I guess they had an enormous crowd there, Scott.
Looked like Helms had done a lot of improvements to the facility.
Right.
So, best driver at the birthday race. Okay. Where was I? Waynesfield.
Yes.
Jack Hewitt Classic. That was Wednesday last week. Cal Conley was the Fast 410 winner. Max Stambaugh won the NRA 360 feature, and Cody Gardner was the Boss Non-Wing Sprint feature winner.
2 minutes.
Lucas Oil late model action going back a couple weeks ago. Tazewell Speedway, Shannon Buckingham was your winner. Jonathan Davenport won at Florence on the 29th. July 4th, they were at Portsmouth, and Mike Marlar was the winner there. Tyler Erb won at Tyler County Speedway. Tyler won at Tyler.
You know
cool.
what's interesting? The weather has changed, and we're actually
Friday,
getting results.
Yeah, that was Friday. Mansfield, well, except for Mansfield did cancel on Saturday due to rain. So that kind of sucked. Upcoming for the Lucas Oil late models tonight and tomorrow, they're at Tri-City Speedway in Illinois, Lucas Oil Speedway on Saturday and Sunday, and then to Brown County Speedway on Tuesday. That's in South Dakota. Jackson Motorplex on Wednesday. Wow, they got a busy week too, don't they? Then I-80 for the 18th through the 20th. So
now, going back to that race at Tri-City in Illinois, several of the drivers from the Summer Nationals, well, not several, quite a few, dropped off of the Summer Nationals to go to that race. So,
really?
Yeah.
I know we were talking about the car count for tonight up at I-96 for the Summer Nationals. We saw about 24 cars.
Yeah, and
you said it was 25.
25 at Thunderbird the night before. So, I don't know.
All right. World of Outlaws, Brandon Shepard led all 50 laps at Independence Motor Speedway on Friday. He won again the following night at Deer Creek Speedway, and once again Tuesday at ABC Raceway in Wisconsin. So Mr. Shepard doing a pretty good job there in the World of Outlaw Late Model Series. Coming up for them is River City Speedway in North Dakota on Friday, Ogilvie Raceway, Minnesota on Saturday, Red Cedar Speedway in Iowa on Sunday. Sprint car racing, Ollie's Bargain Outlet All-Star Circuit of Champions, going back to June 29th. Aaron Rutzel won at the Dirt Oval at Route 66. He then won again this past Friday, July 5th at Lernerville. Dale Blaney won the Lou Blaney Memorial on Saturday at Sharon Speedway. Next up for them is New York Swing. They're going to be at Utica Rome Speedway tomorrow night, Orange County Fair Speedway on Saturday, and Lebanon Valley Speedway on Sunday.
Lebanon Valley is an interesting track.
You like those New York tracks?
Oh, I do. We spent a lot of time over there, and Lebanon Valley it's a high bank track that'll definitely get your attention.
Let's talk about World of Outlaw sprint action here before we get Brad Doty on the phone. Brad Sweet won the Jackson Nationals opening night at Jackson Motorplex on the 27th, going back a couple weeks again. Carson Macedo won Friday, and then Brad Sweet won again on Saturday. And then I just lost my place. Where the hell was I?
I don't know. Brad Sweet won on Saturday.
Okay. Brown County Speedway, Brad Sweet won again. Sheldon Hodenshield won at Cedar Lake this past Saturday, after the Friday night action was postponed to Saturday. Sweet took his backup car to victory in the second feature Saturday. They originally said they did 2 features on Saturday. Coming up for the World of Outlaws, Hartford Speedway up in Michigan for them tomorrow night, Wilmot Speedway in Wisconsin on Saturday, and then they're coming our neck of the woods, Brad Doty Classic at Attica on Tuesday. Then, of course, off to Eldora for the makeup Let's Race 2, which will be Wednesday. Originally, that was going to be an open day before the King's Royal.
So the race fans are going to have big weekend in this area.
Yeah, it's a lot of World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink sprint car action in Ohio next week.
Race fans will be able to catch 2 days at Oakshade, Summer Nationals finale, then off to Attica, and it should be good. Should be good for racing in all over.
And we'll have a whole report here on your Dirt Car Late Model Summer Nationals, which is coming to end, like you said, Saturday at Oakshade. Coming up, a little preview for the birthday race as well. We'll also go over some ARCA NASCAR results and a little bit of other business to take care of. Right now, though, how about you talk about this great race shop called Ron Miller Race Cars, and I'm going to dial up Brad Doty here, and we'll talk to him about the Brad Doty Classic.
Well, it's not just that great race shop, Ron Miller Race Cars. Maybe I am prejudiced. It's a good deal. But I think we're blessed to have a whole lot of really good race shops in the area, and I urge all of our listeners that if you're going to be buying race car parts, buy local. That it's really important. The local speed shops support all of our guys, and I think it's best to buy local.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your number?
734-856-7223.
Brad. Is this Brad Doty?
Yeah.
Hey, Brad.
Yes.
It's Scott Hammer, Ron Miller, Hammer Down Racing Report. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm guessing you've been pretty busy the past few days, and it's probably only going to get more busy as the weekend approaches, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's been a busy week, and that's good. The interest this week seems to be pretty phenomenal compared to prior years. I mean, just the podcast and the radio shows I've done, and the people that say they're coming for the first time and that kind of thing. So I always get really excited this time of year, but yeah, I don't know. I just got a really good feeling that it's going to be a good crowd and hopefully a lot of first timers that'll keep coming back.
Brad, I think the weather might have played a big factor in that, because our race fans are starved because of all the rainouts the first part of the year, and now they see a quality show coming to Attica, and I think the excitement is well deserved.
Well, yeah, and you're 100% right. Attica's Speed Week show was a massive crowd, and the same thing. The forecast. Number one, as you said, people were starving for racing because of all the rainouts early in the year, but the forecast for the rest of the Speed Week, Ohio Sprint Speed Week, didn't look so good. And I told John Borth early in the afternoon, leading up to that Friday night, they had a beautiful, beautiful day. And I said, I bet you have a packed house, because a lot of people that may not have been planning on, going to Attica they're going to drive the distance because it might be the only show they get to see for a while. So you definitely hit the nail on the head. That has a lot to do with it.
Well, the tracks, though, involved with Speed Week, they did everything they possibly could to try and get a show, and one track would cancel, and the other one say, well, hey, how about we have it up here? The weather's good.
Yeah.
I've never seen tracks working together like that. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was. And Wayne County Speedway did that, and it was amazing. And I heard an interview with Jason Flory, the promoter there, and he would have never tried that if it wasn't a Speed Week show and that kind of thing, because you do have, I don't want to say a built-in crowd, but you do have travelers and fans that take the week off and want to see racing, so they can, and even the teams can move around. They're in for the week. So, the teams, they're not going to drive 5 or 6 hours back and forth to the shop, so they're in a motel somewhere. So social media and things like that, word of mouth, they were able to get it done and pulled it off, which was pretty amazing.
Well, coming up Tuesday night, Attica Raceway Park, it's the 31st annual Brad Doty Classic. We have a lot of late model listeners that may not.
We have a real diverse group here.
We hit sprint car guys, we got late model guys, we got
road
pavement
race
guys.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of background on Brad Doty for some of our listeners that may not be familiar with your racing and what happened in what was it, 88?
Yep. Well, I was ran with the World of Outlaws, and in 1987 I finished second in the World of Outlaws national point standings to Steve Kinzer, who before he retired was a 20-time champion, and so that was my best season ever in racing. And unfortunately, in 1988 I was paralyzed in a racing accident at Eldora Speedway, and in 1989. Attica opened, and the USA, United Sprint Association, which was a new organization, actually leased the track from Attica, and any proceeds or profits were going to go to my wife and I, after my accident. And unfortunately, however you look at it, depending on the competition or the series they were trying to compete with, USA went away at the end of '89, and the folks at Attica gave me a call and asked if I would mind if they had an annual race and called it the Brad Doty Classic. And of course I didn't mind. I was honored that they would ask and want to put on an event. And so I really had no direct affiliation with the race until 2005, and that's when I became a co-promoter. And after my accident in '88, I was fortunate about 3 or 4 years later to get involved with TV as a color commentator for the World of Outlaws and other sprint car organizations. I got to go to Australia 3 times in 5 years and do some TV down there. And so that kind of gave me a second career. And in 2005, when I became a co-promoter of the race with then promoter Janet Holbrook at Attica, we were doing the Outdoor Channel TV broadcast, and we were doing a show every weekend. So I was flying somewhere every weekend. We'd voice the show Monday morning, and it would air that following Wednesday. And so we got the World of Outlaws to sanction the event for the first time in its history. Like I said, started in '89. This was 2005. The World of Outlaws came on board to sanction it, and we had the Outdoor Channel there to televise it. So I didn't know what I was getting into, to be honest. But a first time promoter to have a big show like a World of Outlaws race and have TV there to worry about, but it went off well and was successful, and we've been doing it ever since.
Now there was 10 years that it was at Limaland, right?
Yes. After that first year in 2005, Attica's on the fairgrounds there at Attica, Ohio, and so Janet Holbrook had the lease as the promoter, and she lost the lease at the end of that year. There was some uncertainty, or I was told there was some uncertainty on whether the track was even going to reopen, and the World of Outlaws needed to get it on their schedule. So it was, late fall of 2005, almost Christmas time, when we had to make a decision Well, Gene Frankert had been one of the original partners in the track when it opened in 1989, and then he became the sole promoter for many, many years. And then prior to Janet Holbrook taking over as promoter, there'd been another promoter or two in there, but Gene Frankert kind of retired from promoting and stepped away from Attica, and he was hired down at Lima Land Motorsports Park in Lima to do their track prep. So when the uncertainty of what was going to happen at Attica, Gene asked me if I'd be interested in moving it to Lima, and I didn't know anything about Lima other than I'd heard that this college, University of Northwestern Ohio, owned the racetrack, which was, back when I was young, I went to it a few times, and it needed a lot of work even, back then, but the UNOH purchased a track and just completely, made it a show place. So I went down, I met with Dr. Jeff Jarvis, who was the president of the university, and ran the racetrack, and so I made the decision to move it to Lima Land, and we had it, as you said, there for 10 years, and unfortunately, we got rained out, actually flooded out. There was so much rain over the weeks and days leading up to the event. It was 2015, I believe. So on race day, it was a beautiful sunny day. Our rain day was the next day, and it was sunshine on that day as well. But the grounds were so saturated that we couldn't park cars, and so we had to cancel the event. And Lima Land actually asked me, the people at Lima Land actually asked me to find a new home for the event, that they just didn't want to take the risk anymore, and
wow.
It was a lot of pressure. And so a lot of people thought that I moved the race after it rained out, and that's not true. They actually, we discussed it, and they asked me to move it, and so there were some other tracks interested, but the only really logical place to move it to was back to the place it started, which was Attica.
Cool. Again, we're talking to legendary sprint car driver and promoter and media broadcaster Brad Doty about 31st annual Brad Doty Classic coming up at Attica Raceway Park on Tuesday night. Before we talk more about that, I want to go back to your racing career back in the 80s there. You ran World of Outlaws, All-Star, USAC Silver Crown, Sprints. Is there any one race that stands out above the others as far as memorable, other than obviously the last one?
Yeah, absolutely. I won the biggest race of my career was at Ascot Park, which was almost in downtown Los Angeles. Which just you could see the Hollywood sign in the background, and had palm trees in the infield. And a Ohio farm kid, growing up on a farm here in Ohio, to see palm trees, and never knew there were celebrities and actors and actresses that would show up at times. And so I'd heard about Ascot, forever. I went out in 1978 as basically a teenager, to help Kenny Jacobs on his car, and boy, that was an eye opener, And so to get a chance to go back there and race and win the Pacific Coast Nationals, which was at that time one of the biggest sprint car races in the United States, and so I won it, and it's actually out there on YouTube. But the best video is the World of Outlaws website, dirtvision.com, has an archive. Bobby Davis Jr. and I passed each other literally 4 times in one lap, back and forth, and I went on to win the race, and $10,000 to win, a new Rodec block. We took home over like $20,000. Wow! And then
what would that be in today's dollars?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably just at least double that. I would assume. So that was my biggest win of my career, and special just in so many ways. Well, then the next day was Ascot was known mostly for being a non-wing track, and those guys were what they called really back them in without the wing. And there were some vicious crashes and stuff, and it was a pretty intimidating track, especially without the wing. But J.W. Hunt, who was a wealthy strawberry farmer back in those days, used to go to all kinds of racing and put cash up for bonus for this or that, or pay somebody's tire bill and that kind of thing. Well, he was out there, and he put up a $3,000 bonus for the driver that had the best overall finish for the weekend or the 2 nights. Well, with us winning the winged World of Outlaws race on Saturday, we took the wing off, and I ran 5th on Sunday and got that $3,000 bonus.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then this is why Ascot, everybody asks me on my favorite racetrack, it's Ascot, because we opened the season in 1987 with the World of Outlaws right back at Ascot, and they were on a 2-day show, and we won both of those. So I won 3 World of Outlaws races in a row, back to back to back at Ascot. So, it unfortunately is no longer there, but it was that's why it's my favorite track, and that's my favorite and biggest win.
Awesome.
Let's switch gears just a little bit. I know the safety aspect of sprint car racing has improved a lot in the last 10 years. Would the improvements possibly have saved you?
Boy, there's just a lot of ifs, and
That's a loaded question.
Well, no, it's a legitimate question too, though, because the seats we ran, people look at them, and the young guys look at it today, and basically
they were a true bucket seat.
Yeah, that's about it. That was aluminum bucket seat with one rib guard on the right side. Of course, now it's double rib guards with a head
supports and shoulder supports.
Shoulder supports, head supports all the way around the driver's head now, and so I've watched a video of the crash. I've had some still pictures. Unfortunately, I got hit by another car as I was flipping, and one of the still pictures the video was so grainy you couldn't really tell. I wanted to really see why and what happened, and actually the pictures that I got, unfortunately, at the point of impact, another car had driven between the photographer and the crash. Well, I was upside down and basically got hit in the back of the roll cage, and it ripped the fuel tank, the rear torsion bars, and the pulled rear end loose, and literally took about the back half of the roll cage off, and it pulled the seat out, tried to rip the whole seat clear out of the car. So to answer your question, I don't know if the seats of today would have helped or not. We think the rear end itself hit the back of the seat and is probably what broke my back. And so the seats of today are no thicker aluminum than that. So it probably wouldn't have, but we'll never know.
Were there any safety improvements that came about as a direct result of that crash?
I don't believe so. Drivers especially, we have the mentality, it's not going to happen to me. That only happens to other people. And I had it, and I'm sure, especially back then, because we went for years and years without, a lot of injuries or even worse. So, everybody gets complacent that you just, it's not going to happen to me, and it's not going to happen again. And I think probably, it was a shock to everybody, but everybody went racing the very next weekend while I was laying in the hospital, and they have to. And so, I don't know if there was any changes made directly from my accident or not, but over the years, as you said, things have improved. And
I didn't know with the extra bars in the roll cage now that they've mandated, and I didn't know if those could have played in.
Yeah, that extra bar, again, probably not, because that extra bar was put in place because the span between what we call the front hoop or the front support of the roll cage to the back is a pretty long span, and David Gravel got hit right in that area, and it bent that bar down pretty far, and luckily it did not hit him or touch him, but it opened a lot of eyes, and that's when people realized,
we ought to do something
now.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Well, the thing that I've never understood, at one time, 120 thousandths wall thickness was pretty much the standard on a roll cage on a sprint car. And then way before weight rule even, the cars kept getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and the chassis got lighter and lighter. And somewhere along the line, 90 thousandths or 95 thousandths became the standard thickness of a sprint car roll cage. And just like with David Gravel, or a lot of these accidents, you think, gosh, if that would add a 120 wall cage, that might not have happened. Well, the genie's out of the bottle, as they say. There are so many race cars or sprint car chassis out there now with a 90 thousandths or 95 thousandths roll cage.
And you just can't make every one of them obsolete.
Right, because a down tube car, it's not like you can cut the cage off and just go to a heavier roll cage.
Right.
The frame's pretty much junk. But the frame is one of the cheaper parts on a sprint car, but you would obsolete. So a happy medium was to add this extra bar, which I think is a great idea, and maybe will solve the problem. This definitely stiffens that part of the roll cage up.
All right, well, let's. I don't want to get too much.
We really
into
thank you for being very open with that. By the way.
Oh, no problem.
Let's talk more specifically about the big race coming up on Tuesday. Did you have anything to do with the bonus for the local drivers in the top 15 in points? As far as if they win, there's a $2,000 bonus. If none of them win, but the highest would get $1,000, and Attica is going to pay for their World of Outlaw entry fee. Did you have anything to do with that? Membership. That's what
I did not. Yep, I did not. That's all John Boris, the promoter of Attica. He has paid, even when we had our race down in Lima, I was aware that John Boris paid the membership for the top 15 in points. And it actually benefited us at Lima because, their World of Outlaws race was before ours. So a lot of the Ohio cars, that membership was paid, and they would come down and run Lima, where otherwise maybe they wouldn't have, or whatever the case may be. So I was well aware that John Boris was doing that, and he continued to do that all through the years, and even when we moved the race back. But this year he's added, as you said, the 2,000. If a local car, a car in the top 15 in points can win, they get a $2,000 bonus, and then instead of, it's not a winner, the highest finisher that's in the top 15 in points gets $1,000. Second is, I believe, 500, and then 300. It's really great that John has done that.
John Boers is not just a promoter; he's a huge race fan himself.
Yeah, and a racer himself.
He is.
A late model. His son runs a late model. So
right.
Yeah, they're racers.
Has John raced at all this year? Do you know?
No, he has not this year. Not that I know of.
I know Mikey has.
Yep.
So,
and so they know what the cost is, and what's involved in getting a car to the track. So he's well aware of that, and that's one of the reasons he put this bonus money up.
So what's your opinion on it? You like that? You think that's great for the local driver?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because I've seen tracks where the locals would just stay home when it's a World of Outlaw. They'd show up without the car and just sit in the stands and watch because they didn't feel like they had a legitimate shot at winning, so they wouldn't bring the car. Well, now, and there's very, very many cars, in my opinion, that have a legitimate shot at winning this race. The local 410 cars at Attica and Fremont in northwestern Ohio, really good race cars and some really fast drivers. So I would not be surprised to see one of the local teams in victory lane, but definitely.
You're a local guy. What do you think about this Buddy Kofoid kid?
That was on my list.
I beat you to it, Scott.
I was going to ask him about that.
Yeah, he's amazing. I met him when he was 11 years old. He was running a full-size sprint car in Nevada because California wouldn't let him, and he wasn't probably 4 feet tall and as thin as a toothpick. Well, he's now about, I don't know, five something, but he's still thin as a toothpick. But he can muscle that race car and do a great job. He proved that when he won on the last lap at Wayne County on what we call a cowboy up racetrack. He had his elbows up and manhandled the car and got his first All-Star win and stole the win from Parker Price Miller on the last lap. And California has produced a lot of really good young talent. Obviously everybody knows about Kyle Larson coming out of California. So, Carson Macedo, Gio Scelzi. I mean, it's just and Dominic Scelzi, Gio's brother. A lot of good talent out of the Northern California area.
We talked a few weeks ago about the parallels between Buddy Kofoid and Jeff Gordon, coming from California, moving to a team in the middle of Ohio. Just the parallels are amazing.
Well, yeah, it is, like I said, Carson Macedo did basically the same thing a year or two ago. Came out of California and ran Attica and stuff, but I believe he was a little older, than Buddy, and he's just 17 years old. So, it's pretty amazing to, like you said, the parallels of what Jeff did. Jeff opened a lot of doors for a lot of people.
When Gordon came here, he was driving for Mike Stryker, which was a good team, but certainly not a hugely funded team. And now Buddy Kofoid is driving for the Linders, who again are a good team, but they're a family team and not the most well-funded team there. So the parallels are amazing. Yeah,
well, Ed Neumeister actually owns the car and the team, and the Mike and Steven Linder are the crew chiefs and maintain the car and stuff. They've definitely got good equipment. They might not have as much as a World of Outlaws team has as far as 5 or 6 cars or 5 or 6 engines ready to go, but the car that they put on the racetrack is equal to anything that the top teams have.
So what do you think Buddy's chances are of winning on Tuesday?
Oh, really good. Really good. I mean...
You think he might get that $2,000 bonus on top of the $10,000 for winning?
I would not be surprised. Again, I mentioned earlier, I mean, I hate to start naming names because I'm going to forget somebody, but the teams that run Attica on a weekly basis, there are at least 10, including Kofoid, who have a good shot at winning this thing. And I'm not just, blowing smoke or pumping up the teams. They really have a legitimate shot at winning this thing.
We always do a what if, and we're going to do that later in our show, but how many cars do you think are going to be at Attica on Tuesday?
Last year there were 50.
Well, yeah, and there were 58 the year before, and there were at least 4 that I thought was coming last year and had some mechanical issues and different things that they couldn't make it. But we were really proud that we've had, for the last 2 years in a row, we've had the largest single-day car count for any World of Outlaws race in the entire United States. So that's something for us to really hang our hat on and be proud of. And I expect we're going to have just as many. I never know. Kyle Larson has committed to being there. Christopher Bell is going to run it. I don't know if Tony Stewart will be there, but Casey Kane has always, when he raced, even still running NASCAR, when he had a chance to get back in the sprint car, he always supported the race and went out of his way to help us promote the event. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we still top 50 cars, but it's only 24 make the main event. So
the open wheel fans are sure to see a great show.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I'm not concerned about them seeing a good race. That's certainly.
If you had to pick one driver, who's your one guy to keep an eye on this week, not including Buddy Kofoid? Who's your pick to win?
Well, Donnie Schatz is the only 4-time winner, and I think he's won 4 out of the last 7. Somebody just told me. So he's been on a roll, but he's had some changes within his team this year, and but he knows his way around that place, so you can't count him out. Brad Sweet has won something like 5 out of the last 6 or 7 World Outlaws races, so he's on a roll. He's going to be hard to beat. But that's just at the World of Outlaws level. And again, they're going to be bringing a lot of cars. The All Stars, all those teams will be there. Aaron Reitzel's leading the points with the All Stars, and he's been fast, very fast all year. He was actually leading the Speed Week show, and a lap car spun, and he couldn't miss it and got upside down. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see him win the thing too. So, I really, not that I won't commit. It's just that it's so wide open that it could be anybody.
And luck could play a factor in that, like you said, a lap car could change things. So that's Attica Raceway Park is the 31st annual
Brad Doty
Classic. No, it's Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic coming up on Tuesday. Gates open at 3:30. Racing at 7:30. Can people purchase tickets ahead of time?
Yes, absolutely. Reserve seats and general admission, but they can go to AtticaRacewayParks.com or the World of Outlaws website, which is Woo Sprint, so it's WOO Sprint.com, and buy tickets. And we actually have people that will purchase general admission tickets online. And I used to question that, and then they tell me that, and it makes sense, that they'll spend the couple dollar service fee to get their tickets early, so they don't have to stand in line when they get to the track and the ticket office is lined up. They can walk right in. So now I understand that. But so AtticaRacewayPark.com. Click on the link, and tickets are still available. Again,
talking to Brad Doty. You got a lot of work to do before Tuesday still, or you just kind of doing some press and everything's taken care of?
Yeah, doing a lot of press. We have a lot of really good sponsors, and we got to make sure banners. That's where Rex Lejeune and the crew at the track do a great job making sure all the sponsor banners are hung, and it's a big event, so they got to make sure they have enough food, and we have, you mentioned Ohio Logistics. I believe it's their 12th or 13th year they've been the title sponsor, and they're bringing 235 guests that we cater food to in one of the buildings, and so we've got to make sure that they're taken care of, and there's a lot to it, and then you got to worry about the weather. So right now I think we're looking okay.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
All right, Brad, we appreciate the time, and looking forward to a great show on Tuesday.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on, and help to spread the word to get the event to the people and the masses, and hopefully weather cooperates and we have a big crowd.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll be talking to you about this time next year, promoting the 32nd annual Brad Doty Classic.
All right, well, thanks a lot, you guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. Bye.
Uh-huh.
Brad Doty there, a legendary sprint car driver. Pretty cool guy. I like him.
Yeah, and very open about his career and his injuries.
Yeah, so very interesting conversation there. It's, like I said, the huge race at Attica Raceway Park, huge car count. Another big race, the birthday race at Oakshade, huge car counts there, usually the highest of all the summer national
right.
So, excuse me, I had to suck down the rest of my coffee there. Let's get back, do a little bit more here before we start talking some summer national stuff, and maybe we'll ring up Chris.
Yeah, let's get a show of hands. Everybody that would like to hear from Oakshade Raceway before we go off the air, put your hand up. Okay, good. We're going to do that.
I didn't see any hands.
No, I did.
I don't know where I was supposed to be looking.
No, the screen over there. You missed it. I'm sorry.
There? Oh, well,
yeah.
Well, see, they're like 30 seconds behind us, so I don't think you gave them long enough.
No, I did.
Take a look there in a couple more seconds.
No, I saw it, Scott.
Ty Majeski won at Chicagoland in the ARCA race action on the 27th of last month. The next race for ARCA is coming up Saturday night, the Elko 250 at Elko Speedway in Minnesota. That's 7:30 on MAV TV. Haley Deegan is going to be competing, going for her first ARCA win. In NASCAR action, Cole Custer won the Xfinity race at Chicagoland weekend before last, with Ross Chastain winning at Daytona this past weekend. In Cup action, Alex Bowman got his first Cup win at Chicago. Then Sunday, after the Coke Zero Sugar 400 was delayed from Saturday night to Sunday afternoon, was rain shortened, lightning struck, and Justin Haley became a winner. It was very controversial, I guess, because was it Kurt Busch that pitted? They gave up the lead to Pitt
Yes.
when they gave him the 1-to-go signal, and he was all pissed off that, well, they gave the 1-to-go. We should have gone green. That's why I pitted. But then the lightning struck, and their policy is if it's within 8 miles.
8 miles.
They start a 30-second clock, and they stop the cars as soon as
it's a 30-minute clock.
That's what, yeah. 30
And they
30
have,
seconds would have been a lot better.
And they have to clear the grandstands because they're all aluminum and gigantic lightning rods.
Yeah. So, and then there was controversy about his team, and there was just a lot of noise. I mean, the kid won. He got lucky. Yeah, sure, but that's cool. He won.
And luck plays into it.
Yeah, it happens. Bush's
Did you happen to look up in the grandstands?
They have colored seats, so it's kind of hard to tell how many people were there. And it was also delayed,
it was a rain delay from Saturday, and other people had to leave. I
and there was lightning.
Kind of
disappointed.
Yeah,
and that was the last.
I thought the crowd should have been a lot bigger.
Last July 4th weekend race for Daytona too. It's moving to the end of August next year. Is it the last race before the playoffs, or is it the first race of the playoffs? I don't remember. It's whatever that is.
The Coca-Cola race won't be the 4th of July at Daytona.
It's now going to be Indianapolis.
A lot of history there, man.
Yeah. All 3 series are at Kentucky this weekend. Tonight, actually, the trucks started already at 7:30. That's on FS1. Cup race is Saturday, and the Xfinity race is tomorrow night. Both those races also at 7:30, and they're on NBC SN. Now, let's talk some... Dean's not a fan of Haley after watching a show she did. Okay.
Well, okay.
Dirt Car Late Model Summer Nationals. A lot of rainouts, a lot of action. It's all coming to an end. What was it? 30 days, 28 races, 30 something ridiculous. That it began in the middle of June.
I think it's 31 days, but who's counting?
And it's going to end at Oakshade Raceway as it does every year on Saturday night. Actually, Friday and Saturday. Last 2 races will be at Oakshade for the late models. There's the Hell Tour, as it's called. Winners leading up to this weekend, going back to June 27th at Brownstown Speedway. Mike Marlar was the winner there. Terre Haute was Brandon Shepard. He got his second win. Lincoln Speedway on the 30th was postponed due to rain. On the 1st of July, the dirt oval at Route 66 was canceled due to wet grounds. The following night at Wilmot Raceway was canceled due to rain. July 3rd at Davenport Speedway was canceled due to rain. July 4th, they did do some racing. Macon Speedway, Gordy Gundaker was the winner there. Rusty finished 7th. Chuck Hummer finished 19th. Farmer City was Friday, July 5th. Gundaker again won. Rusty finished 11th. Chuck Hummer finished 16th. The 6th was supposed to be at Federated Auto Parts I-55 Speedway. That was canceled due to flooding. That's becoming way too common these days. So they raced at Fayette County Speedway instead on the 6th. That was a made-up race from the postponed June 16th race. Bobby Pierce was the winner there. The 7th, they were at Quincy Raceway. Mike Marlar won his second win of the series. Monday, that's the 8th, right? Sycamore Speedway. Yeah, I think it was Monday. Bobby Pierce was the winner there. He took the point lead with that win. They were off on Tuesday. Last night, they were at Thunderbird Raceway. Brian Shirley was the winner there. It's a tight point race between Bobby Pierce and Brian Shirley. Coming down the stretch, they're at I-96 Speedway, probably racing right now, as a matter of fact, tonight. And then, again, as we mentioned, tomorrow and Saturday at Oakshade Raceway.
My favorite son, Steve Miller, says that Bobby Pierce is not going to win at I-96 or Oakshade because he doesn't have a wall to bounce the back end off of.
In the corners.
In the corners. If you watch any of his races, he definitely abuses the wall and the right rear corner of his race car. So,
but he's won at Oakshade.
We'll see how he does.
Okay. Well, that's this weekend. Again, if you are going to Oakshade, 2 big races, a lot of camping as well. Gates open at noon tomorrow, or sooner, I guess, if they have cars lined up along the road. Mm-hmm. But gates are scheduled to open at noon tomorrow at Oakshade Raceway, and racing will start at 8 p.m. Modifieds and late models, and then Saturday night is the big 10,000 to win birthday race, Summer National finale for the late models, the modifieds as well, and Bombers will be in action.
There's been some controversy, too.
Gates open at 10 on Saturday, racing at 8 p.m. again on Saturday. Sorry, go ahead.
There's been some controversy because some of the rained-out races have been rescheduled, but the Summer Nationals points definitely end Saturday at Oakshade.
That's true. There is...
You'll find it, Scott.
There it is. 25th, Lincoln Speedway was postponed on the 30th. They're going to have a makeup race on the 25th. That is, like you said, a non-points race.
It'll be UMP points, but not Summer Nationals.
Correct. So, you want to talk to Chrissy about it?
I think we really ought to.
All right. We'll give.
It's their big race, and
She sent me a message here. Did you forget me?
No.
Maybe we did. We're sorry. So let's
answer your phone when it rings, Chrissy.
I'm guessing she's probably pretty busy too, getting things ready for tomorrow.
Getting hot dogs pre-cooked.
They don't pre-cook the hot dogs.
I know
They're
that.
always fresh. Because I go in there early when I get there on Saturdays, and there's none left. Well, I mean, none made yet, so I have to wait.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, did I make you stop whatever you were doing?
You did, but it's okay.
Were you were out watering the track?
I'm not. Sure he is.
Okay.
Filling trucks.
Christina Hendricks from Oakshade Raceway. Big, huge race weekend for you guys this weekend. Floor is yours for a couple of minutes. Go ahead and spout away.
Spout away? Okay. Yes. This weekend is our big birthday race weekend. Summer Nationals. We have 2 nights of racing. Friday, tomorrow. We have.
I already covered all that. So you're good there.
What do you want me to do?
Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
I don't know. The person that crosses the finish line in first.
Okay.
Checkered flag. That's who will win. Yeah.
Okay. What time is qualifying? That's the one thing I didn't know.
I imagine the hot laps and then qualifying.
Okay.
Will start.
Hot laps at 6 then?
O'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now what?
And then I'm pretty sure the modifieds do a hot lap qualify, and then the late models qualify.
Gotcha.
I know every year there's lots and lots of campers out there. The grounds are now dry enough that they should be able to park everywhere?
Yes. So, yeah, finally. Everything's mowed off. We've got the main lot and then the overfill lot. And then some over farther. But yeah, it's all mowed. It's dry pretty much everywhere, and we should be good.
What I've seen, you've been getting a lot of questions, at least on Facebook. I'm sure you're getting lots of phone calls and other messages. What's the one thing that you're getting asked the most?
Let's see. What is the most?
One of the things.
One of the things.
How
big of a cooler can I bring in?
And the answer is?
A 12-pack size.
Okay.
Small cooler.
No glass. There you go.
Yeah.
Now,
I would say that's one of my main things.
What's the fee this year for camping?
We don't have a fee. You have to buy your tickets for the races. There's no extra charge for camping.
And the ticket prices are the same as they are every week, $14 both Saturday or Friday and Saturday for general admission for adults, right?
Yes, $14 each day, Friday and Saturday, and pit passes are $25 each day.
And the pits are going to be open on Saturday, correct?
Yeah, the pits will be open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for anyone that has a general admission ticket for Saturday's race.
Then after 4 o'clock, you need a pit pass to remain in the pits. So good reason for racers to get out there early on Saturday so fans can come in and meet them.
I know everybody's going to have a Sharpie, so autographs are free, and I know that...
Bomber drivers, we're not used to this. It's been a while since this has happened.
Right.
Most of the teams have photos available, too, so...
and if not, I'm sure Charlie would be more than willing to get some.
To sell a couple, and yeah.
Right.
So
of course he would.
It's a big deal day.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a Saturday's a big deal day. Tomorrow's a big day, and there's we don't open the gates tomorrow until noon. Okay, noon. But I do have some campers in line
Already?
Oh yeah. But we're gonna try and really stick to the new part because we have some stuff that we need to finish up doing and all of that, and it just makes it easier on us.
So are you wore out already this week, or you still
I'm a little
good?
tired.
A little tired? How much more do you have to do?
Tired. Well, it's just a lot more. Here is one thing. I haven't put it on Facebook or Twitter yet, and I wanted to. We did bring in, I know I've had a couple people say, well, there's not going to be enough seats since we took the seats down in turn one. We did bring in two portable, we rented 2 sections. So there will be plenty of seats. So that's a big thing.
I was wondering about that, but very cool.
And for an extra $11, they can always come into the pits, and there's seating over there.
Exactly.
So
good point, Ron.
other than Matt Crafton racing in the modifieds both Friday and Saturday, any other names that you know of that'll be there this weekend? Is Taylor Cook? He's coming too.
No, Taylor crashed.
He's not coming.
Taylor crashed pretty hard last weekend, and he won't be there.
And Zach, and unfortunately Zach Dome canceled due to his personal matters, so won't be the same winner as last year.
Right. I just going by what I've been reading on Facebook, I think Van Wormer is supposed to be doing the last 4 shows.
Yep.
I saw he did run last night.
Jeep is definitely committed to the last 4.
Okay.
Yep. I've seen a few other ones, but till they pull in,
you don't know.
That's right. That is right. They could, something could come up or whatever. You just never know. So.
Well, I do have some.
But I look to have a good field of cars and all that, and hope,
I do have some good news for you, which I'm sure could be a concern and has been in previous years. You should not have to worry about the weather this weekend. We'll have the weekend weather report with our weekend weather pit stop with Ryan Weekman coming up soon.
Well, that's wonderful. That is awesome. It is beautiful out right now. It's finally cooled off a little bit, and yes, the weekend. That I'm so happy to hear that.
Just one thing you don't have to worry about.
One less thing to worry about. Yeah.
Tomorrow's weather should be truly spectacular. A little bit cooler. It's going to be a great day.
Well, good.
All right.
I'd like to hear that, Ron.
We'll let you get back to what were you doing when we called you?
Filling water trucks.
Okay. Well, we'll let you get back to that because we don't want to keep you up too late tonight. You need to get some rest for tomorrow.
That's okay. Yes, I thank you very much, and hope to see many of you out here for this weekend or big 2-day show. And
Chrissy Hendricks.
It'll be a great weekend.
Chrissy Hendricks from Oakshade Raceway. Their biggest races of the year coming up Friday and Saturday. Late model fans don't miss these.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Christina.
You're welcome. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Oh, we cut her off. Thanks to Christina Hendricks there. That was not planned. We were going to originally have Zach Dome on, but again, unfortunate situation for him.
If Zach was available, we'd have been going till 9 o'clock.
Well, I was thinking we'd be probably at least an hour and a half tonight, but we're about done. We're getting there. There's just a few more random notes worth noting here. Jason Blonde ended a 2-year drought by winning the Mussey Racing Sprint feature at Birch Run Speedway on Friday, the 5th. Anthony McCune's third place finish there vaulted him to the point lead over Jimmy McCune, who had mechanical issues.
Yeah, Jimmy had an engine issue early in the night, so he was a DNS.
Which is worse than a DNF.
Yeah.
Anton Hernandez won the Race Saver 305 feature at Twin City Speedway in Indiana on Saturday as well.
Our guests are doing well.
Yeah, come on the show. You do good. Yeah. So, if Brad Doty was racing, he'd probably win.
For sure.
Well, he's going to win anyways because it's going to be a great show Tuesday at Attica. So a lot of great racing. No excuse to miss out on that this weekend. Got so many notes here. One other racing-related news story. This came up this morning. NASCAR confiscated the primary number 52 truck of Stuart Friesen because it was deemed unacceptable, indicating there was a problem with the rear firewall placement in relation to the rear clip of the truck. I don't know exactly what that means. I figure you might know a little more.
I'm not sure.
And why they would confiscate it. But Friesen will have to start at the rear of the field no matter where he qualifies in a backup truck.
NASCAR has been,
or he already has.
NASCAR has been pretty tough on their new legislation,
which is
policy.
probably a good thing because
right. They've certainly made the statement that they're not messing around anymore.
They took away a win earlier this year.
Yeah,
so
a couple of birthdays are now missing.
That happens. All right. How about let's do our how many, and then we'll check out. Well, let's do the how many. Then we're gonna go over all the racing action that's coming up this weekend, and then we'll check out the weekend weather pit stop. How's that sound?
Go ahead. You first.
All right. Well, first let's go back a few weeks ago, because for our last two how manys, 3 weeks ago our how many was how many late models were going to be at Oakshade for the Barney. That's right. Yes, and Buddy Kofoid was on that show. He was the winner because he said
none.
42.
Oh,
and the answer was none. So he was the lowest one there. We also did the 410s at Attica for that weekend. Buddy said 53. Do you know how many there were?
53.
Yes. So Buddy made a clean sweep for that last time he was on the show. And then 2 weeks ago, we did how many bikes were going to be at Oakshade for the Night of Wheels, and I was the winner there with 44, and the answer was maybe 50.
Maybe 50, okay.
I asked Chrissy how many there were. He said maybe 50, so I'm going with that.
Okay, so you declared yourself the winner.
So I declared myself the winner with 44 because I had the highest.
Somehow I think that stinks.
Well, that's all right. It's my show. I can do that. How many late models are going to be at the birthday race this weekend? Alan, you gonna come in on this one?
I reckon 43, mate.
43. Okay. What do you got?
37.
37? Wow. Okay.
Mr. Hammer?
I say 52.
Oh, my.
Yeah. I'm being optimistic.
I'm going with 40, Scott. Car counts have been off. We just discussed earlier in the night 25 cars.
Yeah, that has me a little worried because I actually picked my number before I saw the car count from the past two nights. So,
and the car counts have not been spectacular all the way through the Summer Nationals. Now,
but it is 10,000 to win, and it's the birthday race.
And to balance it out, Attica is not running late models Saturday or Friday, so those guys are going to be looking for somewhere to race, and we'll probably pick up some of the Attica regulars that don't show up at Oakshade. There is no ethanol race this weekend, so we could see guys like Dona Marculier. We could see Spanky, Eric Spangler. I don't know.
Lucas has a race.
Lucas is Tri-City.
Tomorrow, and then Lucas Oil in Missouri on Saturday.
Right.
And the World of Outlaws are in North Dakota and Minnesota.
I don't know what the highest car count is for the UMP Summer Nationals, and I think we'll still get that number.
But it's not going to be my 52?
I don't think.
Okay. Let's talk about racing coming up this weekend. Lima Land is off this weekend. They did not get rained out. It's just an off weekend for Lima Land. Attica Raceway Park is in action tomorrow night, as well as Tuesday. But tomorrow night is the Krogan Colonial Bank Smith Family Foods Night, featuring the Attica Fremont Championship Series 410 sprints, 305 sprints. The 305s will be racing for $1,000 to win. The trucks will be in action there, and vintage cars as well. The gates open at 5, racing at 7:45. General admission is $15 there at Attica Raceway Park tomorrow. And that top 15 bonus deal for Tuesday,
right?
That's top 15 will be based after Friday night's race.
Okay.
So after the top 15 after Friday night's race are eligible.
So
for
those
that
guys
bonus.
are going to have to show up.
Yeah. Buddy should be locked into that.
I
pretty
would
well,
think.
though. Friday night also, Oakshade Raceway. It's the Summer Nationals. Late models racing for $5,000 to win. Modifieds in action as well. Gates open again at noon. Racing at 8. General admission just $14 tomorrow night. Then Saturday night, Oakshade's back in action with the Summer Nationals finale, the $10,000 to win birthday race for the late models, modifieds, and bombers. Gates again open at 10, racing at 8 p.m. General admission $14 Saturday night.
That's a lot of racing for $14.
That is. That's a pretty good deal. That's probably the best deal in racing.
Now, I don't know. Did you specify what night that car count was for?
Yeah, Saturday. Birthday
Okay.
race.
Okay.
It's a birthday race one.
All right.
Flat Rock Speedway is in action with R&M Recycling Autograph Night. You can walk on the track, meet the drivers at 6:15. They're going to have the Silver Cup Late Model Sportsman, the Street Stocks, Figure Eights, Factory Stock, and Bandoleros. Pit gate will open at 3, front gates at 4:30. Racing at 7. General admission's $15 up there at the Level Pebble, otherwise known as Flat Rock. Sandusky Speedway in action. Modifieds, Lake Erie Stocks, Beginner Stocks, Renegades. Gates open at 4, racing at 7. General admission just $10 at Sandusky Speedway. Fremont will also be in action on Saturday night. It's Root Poultry and Fort Ball Pizza Throwback Nights featuring the Attica Fremont Championship Series 410 and 305 sprints. Again, $1,000 to win for the 305s. And it's also Boss Non-Wing Sprints. It's an all-sprint show. I believe this was their makeup thing because the trucks were originally scheduled, but they are off at Fremont on Saturday because of the Boss Non-Wing Sprints. And then, of course, Tuesday, the 31st Annual Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic featuring the NOS Energy Drink World of Outlaws. Gates open at 3:30. Again, on Tuesday, the 16th. Racing at 7:30. General admission is $37 for that show.
Lots of great racing all weekend and the beginning of next week. If you're even thinking about seeing a race, make sure you get your backside trackside.
And another little note here coming up Saturday, July 20th at State Line Speedway for the go-karts, the 6th Annual Race of Champions, $4,000 to win for that over there in Eden. So just a little note for there. Oh, we check out Ryan Weekman and his digitally altered and corrected weekend weather racing pit stop. Well,
we know
he's
that
on
it's
vacation
accurate.
this week. Yeah, I know it's accurate.
That's right.
It's based right off of that WTOL weather app as well. So let's check that out.
This is your weekend weather pit stop forecast. I'm First Alert meteorologist Ryan Weekman. Now we're starting to hit our stride a little bit. Oh yeah, the summertime heat is back here, and we're getting ready for a big weekend of races. Let's talk about Friday first, Oakshade and Attica. I think things should get by just fine. We are looking at a very dry forecast. Saturday, more of the same. Great for race start times for Oakshade, Flat Rock, Sandusky. We've got Fremont as well. Sunshine should be out and about through much of the day. This has been your weekend weather pit stop forecast. Be sure to download your free First Alert weather app. I'm First Alert meteorologist Ryan Weekman.
Weather looking good for racing this weekend.
It is.
Looking forward to it. One other note, I guess there's something going on with Lorain County Speedway.
Yeah, a nice little track over east
Asphalt
of
track,
here a ways.
Lorain County,
Yeah.
over, west of Cleveland. I guess they actually had a statement on their Facebook page here, but it sounds like they may not be racing for the rest of the year. I'm not really sure. Their website hasn't been updated. It still says it's going to be Kids Night this weekend, but Tim Findish has decided to end his 20-year relationship with Lorain County Speedway, and he's going to be focusing his efforts on growing his personal business.
I wonder what that 20-year relationship was. Now, did he?
Well, it starts out with the new direction that the new ownership has taken. I, Tom Findish, have decided to end my 20-year relationship with Lorain County Speedway. So Chris Mize kind of pointed me in that direction.
Okay.
There's some stuff going on there. So hopefully they get it figured out.
Go-kart track.
Never want to see a track close.
No, not at all.
So.
The go-kart track up at Palmyra, I guess, is not running this weekend. You may check their Facebook page, and I guess John Bailey had something go on in his family, and he has opted to not run this weekend.
Family comes first.
That's it.
Thanks to associate producer Dave Kemmer for helping book our guests this week on the show, and also helped me out with a ton of news over the past few weeks. I missed a lot when I was on that cruise. It's like I was like not connected to the world. I did see that in Puerto Rico there is a racetrack. I don't know what kind it was. I was looking at a map and it said auto racing track, so it may have been a road course. I don't know.
You didn't go?
We were only on the island for like 3 hours, and I didn't want to miss the boat back because that would have sucked. It's probably been
Catch
expensive.
the next one.
Yeah, I don't think they let you do that. I could be wrong.
What? Were you going to swim home?
Maybe. Thanks again for Ron Miller Race Cars for being official studio sponsor of the Hammer Down Racing Report. If you'd like to be a sponsor, visit hammerdownracingreport.com. We have sponsor information on there as well. And in the meantime, make sure to give Ron a call, 734-856-7223. I don't think we did give that phone number.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Rushed. Race cars, parts, safety equipment, service, everything a racer needs.
That's it.
Ron Miller Race Cars, All-Star Performance.
All-Star Performance. Yep. And All-Star Performance.
Alan's even got All-Star.
Everybody.
You got the note.
I guess Mrs. Miller missed the memo.
Yep. Also, information on the Hammer Down Racing Report Dirty 30 that's coming up at Sandusky Speedway on October 3rd is at hammerdownracingreport.com. And you can fill out that form. The link is on there if you have any intention of competing in that race.
Or
in
even
either the late models,
if you
bombers,
think
truck.
you have an intention.
Yeah. No obligation, no cost. Just
sign up.
Fill out the form. You can go directly to it, sanduskyspeedway.com/dirty30. And we'll add you to the list of potential competitors in this inaugural, groundbreaking, weird dirt car on asphalt event.
It's going to be fun, and it could very well be the first annual.
Yeah, it would be cool if it is. So, yeah, that's it. I think we're done.
I think we need to go eat dinner.
Are you hungry? I need to get some. I need to go steal some parts from you.
That's okay. Ron Miller Race Cars' second shift is there.
Are they? Did you make sure of that already?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Be back in action next week, live 7 o'clock, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter. Again, make sure to tell all your friends to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.
We'll fill everybody in on all the racing that's going on this week.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great weekend. Y'all get
that's all I can think
y'all
of.
get to a race somewhere this weekend, please.
Absolutely. Make sure you listen to us on demand as well on your favorite podcasting platform, be it iHeartRadio, Google, iTunes. What's the other one? Spotify. We are
YouTube,
Stitcher. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. We're omnipotent. See you back next week.
We are the big guys.
Is that where we are?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Goodbye.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report from the Ron Miller Race Car Studio. Listen on demand on iHeartRadio.